Good evening, and welcome to our 5th episode of Forecast from Flagstaff. If you haven't yet joined us previously, the first 4 episodes can be easily found and watched on the nau.edu/forecast website. Welcome back for those of you joining us again. My name is Annika Olson, and I serve as the Vice President for Enrollment Management. Now, I know a number of you are wondering, hey, where's your sidekick, Chad? Never fear, Chad will be joining us later. But in the meantime, he's monitoring that chat window where so many of you have already started asking questions. We really appreciate that. We are going to do our best to bucket those questions into themes and answer as many as possible tonight. Our efforts with these forecasts are to give you the most up-to-date information about fall 2020 and the changes as a result of the pandemic we're all trying to navigate. Tonight's episode is something special. Joining me are 3 of my favorite colleagues on campus. I'm going to go ahead and introduce them now. Directly to my right is Erin Grisham. She serves as the Vice President of Student Affairs. Next to Erin is Dr. Diane Stearns. She is our Chief Academic Officer, or Provost, for those of you that aren't familiar with that term. And last, and certainly not least, is the President of Northern Arizona University, Dr. Rita Hartong Chang. Dr. Chang, you have a few words for us?
I do. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to all the Lumberjack students and families. As we continue our preparations for fall semester, we are staying mindful of our mission, your needs, and the health and safety of our students, faculty, staff, community, and state. Last week, we made a shift and delayed the in-person, excuse me for the mask, the in-person classes to extend our move-in process to the start of the semester. We also expanded on our expectations of students, including testing and quarantining prior to coming to campus. The decision was made in consultation with scientific and medical experts with the goal of delivering our quality education through multiple delivery options while mitigating the COVID-19 risk to our community. We would like to devote most of our time today to answer as many questions as possible regarding the fall semester plans. And I want to thank you for joining us and turn this back over to Annika, who will facilitate and guide us through our program tonight.
Great. So we're all negotiating these new clear masks, which we're all using tonight for the first time. So if you see us kind of adjusting a little bit, please forgive us. So while President Chang was speaking, Chad handed me our first batch of questions. So right off the bat, why did you decide to require testing for residential students? And really, to President Chang's earlier point, it is our intent to open campus in the safest way possible. And so we've really debated and followed a number of other institutions across the country to require students that are moving into our communal living in our residence halls on campus. To that end, we've developed a protocol, and I know most students and some of our new parents got an email earlier today talking about this testing requirement and directing you to the Jacks Are Back website with updated information about our testing protocol. So the first piece is, as students are coming to campus, we want you to test, quarantine, and then arrive. That is what we are asking. And so how early do you take that test? It really depends on that new move-in time that many of you have already selected throughout today. You received an email last night to do that. So that is our preferred testing protocol. Now, we realize that in some areas it's hard to get a test. In the state of Arizona, we've given you a number of options to find testing. And a number of parents from California told us if you indicate communal living on your test with your primary care provider or at urgent care, they will give you a test. So a little tip for you there as well. If you absolutely cannot receive a test, we have another protocol for you, and that includes quarantining, arriving, and then we will test you as soon as possible after your arrival, and then you'll be asked to quarantine until you receive those test results. One question that already came in that, in addition to the testing question, was, what if I'm waiting for test results and my face-to-face class begins? And to take care of that, you will just need to communicate that with your faculty members, your instructors, and they will accommodate you accordingly. All right, let's go ahead and get to our second question. Can you please explain the new class schedule? And for that, I'm going to go ahead and have Diane explain that to you, the new academic schedule. Dr. Stearns?
Thank you, Annika. So we're spreading out our course offerings and our dates just simply to maximize physical distancing, bringing people back to campus. So our semester will start on August 12th, and in some cases there may be face-to-face courses that require students to be on campus. And in that case, your move-in will be prioritized, and you can attend those face-to-face classes starting on Monday the 17th. In most cases, our faculty have been able to make adjustments to the classes so that we can have full remote instruction in most cases through the month of August. And then we'll transition those classes that require face-to-face to start in September.
Awesome. So all classes start August 12th, which is my mom's birthday, so it's really hard for me to forget. All students will be remote for that first 3 days of the semester. A small group of students will start in person, face-to-face on Monday the 17th. And for students that are unclear, if you're in that bucket, we're going to communicate that with you in the next couple days, so you will know. And then everyone else is going to enjoy their amazing NAU courses remotely through the 28th, Friday the 28th, so back in person on Monday the 31st. So that is the plan. Again, those of you that were emailed to select a new move-in time, you already know if you have at least one course with that earlier 17th face-to-face, because you were given a group of move-in times prior to that date. And for everyone else, so a majority of our students, you were given a move-in time to select throughout the next few weeks. So lots of different move-in times to select. Thanks, Diane. All right, so part of that housing question is, what is considered an extenuating circumstance? So we know that many of you had non-refundable travel, or as a number of students who I've spoken with over the last couple of days, they have jobs that they're starting on campus or leases that are ending elsewhere, and they need to move during their original time. You're able to indicate that in the housing portal. So in that email you received last night, you can click in there, indicate what your extenuating circumstance is, and then you'll hear back from housing within 24 hours. Now, our friends at Housing just reported to us just before we went live today, and they've gotten through over 90% of those extenuating circumstances submitted thus far. So if you have already submitted that extenuating circumstance, you might want to check your NAU email again, and you might already see an email back about that. So, as always, check that NAU email. Okay. This next question is for you, Erin.
Excellent.
So, students want to be back on campus. We've heard them say that to us so many times. I just want to get back and get going because it's so exciting. What activities will be available for them as we come back in this new COVID world on campus?
Well, our student activity staff have been working very hard to plan a series of activities utilizing our virtual or hybrid model. So we will have some virtual opportunities. We've actually been hosting a lot of those over the summer. We had our Involvement Expo that was virtual this summer. That was great. We're going to host some virtual concerts for students this fall. Some fun things we're going to do in the first few weeks of school are host films on the field, like drive-ins, but on the grass and appropriately distanced. So that will be a lot of fun. So we're hosting a lot of things virtually and where we can safely in small groups. And our residence halls will be doing some things in small groups. So we will have opportunities for students to connect with other students and to make their connections here.
So make their connection, find that vibrancy on campus. Just looks a little different than kind of the traditional.
Yes.
But so many of our life activities have looked different. So
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely.
And that involvement fair was great.
It was excellent.
And in lots of different ways to get connected there. And I'm sure those of you that joined us for that involvement fair will continue to hear from some of those clubs and organizations to get involved with. It'll be hard to miss, I'm sure. I know those clubs are anxious to welcome new members.
Well, for instance, our fraternities and sororities are going to do their fall recruitment all virtually.
Cool.
So we're really working hard to make sure students get connected.
All right, Diane, you're up. What if I want to study remote this fall? What do I do?
So the first thing the students should do is to go to the Jacks Are Back webpage, and there's an NAU Flex link and a student resources link, and there's a form that they can fill out indicating that they would like to explore remote. And so it will depend on the student's major and schedule. So for example, there are some majors that require classes that have to be face-to-face. So for example, a nursing major with a clinical lab, that's accredited. There aren't really many options. Some of the science and engineering labs, some of the music performance classes, those will require a face-to-face component. But many classes don't. And so if you fill out that form, our team will look at it for you and can decide, is there, depending on where you are in your coursework, if you have a face-to-face class, could you substitute something else, stay on track, and do an all-remote semester? And so there are many options, and we're willing to work with you to find the best option for you.
Great. So for like a junior engineering major, there might be a class or two or more that are hard not to do that face-to-face. But for maybe a younger student, it would be easier to swap in maybe a liberal studies option that is remote.
Exactly. And we've got, team can look at all the possibilities for the student and find the best option.
Okay. Thanks, Diane. So we are asking students to complete that form by Monday, August 3rd. We know with the shifts of the fall semester, people need a little more time to weigh all of their options. And so originally that date was the 31st, and now we've extended that through next Monday. And the reason we're having students indicate that to us is so we have enough time to make those shifts that Dr. Stearns mentioned. We want to make sure you start the semester strong with the classes from day one. And so we want to do our very best to accommodate those remote requests. There is an additional piece to that as well. For students that are choosing to join us remote, we'll share that with the faculty member. So as the students that are here in person are in a classroom, we know how many what the capacity is for that particular classroom. So those that will be studying at home or in a remote location, that will help us be planful to make sure we're doing that physical distancing that we know is so important. Great. All right. So this one is for you, Erin. What are you going to do if a student gets sick? Either on campus or off campus. How are we going to work with students to help them get better?
Thank you, Annika, because I know that's probably a question on lots of parents' minds. It would be for me as a parent of a college student. So we have developed a very robust set of care protocols for our students, whether they live on campus or live off campus. So if they live on campus, our residential life staff will work with that student to relocate them. We have a number of rooms, places on campus set aside for that very thing. So our residential life staff will work with that student. We'll get them into that room. And then we will make sure the student has everything they need while they're in quarantine. So access to basic needs, personal things, computers, laptops, all of that. We will make sure they have everything they need. Meals will be delivered to the students. So we have that partnership with our dining partner. And then our residential life staff will check in on that student, as well as our medical staff, our care staff from Campus Health Services.
Great.
If a student lives off campus, we have care protocols from the Dean of Students. Again, we will reach out to that student, make sure they have what they need. If they need anything, we'll make sure they get it. And then again, the Dean of Student staff and our medical staff from Campus Health will check in on that student, make sure they have what they need. We will also help that students communicate with faculty if they need, because that's a normal part of what we do with students and our care of students, our culture of care here at NAU. But rest assured, we will make sure students have what they need and they get the care they need.
Great. So if a student, like in the earlier example, is quarantining and waiting test results, if they need help contacting their faculty, the Dean of Students
Absolutely.
office, awesome. Okay,
Absolutely.
great. Another option for
Yeah,
students.
absolutely.
Great. Well, the next question is, I know, top of mind for many parents that I've spoken with over the last handful of days and has been asked, and that is, why are you not prorating rent since you're asking us to delay move-in? And really, when you move in and sign that lease with us, it is a lease similar to an off-campus housing. And so we are moving you in the month of August. And so we don't look at a day-by-day proration there. We put you on, when you check in, you will be under the contract terms of that lease agreement, that contract in residence life. So many of our students are moving in prior to the start of classes, some that first weekend after the start of classes, and then throughout the month of August. And I will also share that our housing costs compared to our off-campus partners in Flagstaff, as well as other institutions, we have always, in our housing and residence life area, try to keep those at least 10% or more below what students off campus or at other institutions in our region are paying. So really they're 10% and in some cases up to 34% less. So I did want to just give you that as kind of a litmus test for our commitment to keeping our housing costs as low as possible. So there's the answer to that, I know, top of mind question. So this next question is for you again, Dr. Stearns. When will my student hear from their instructors, professors? When can they expect that?
Okay, we've advised faculty to reach out to their students next week, which is the week before classes start. I mean, if they haven't done so already, and some of them have, to give details about the specific, way that the class will meet. And we've also we're in the process of adjusting LUI so that when a student looks at their class schedule, they can see the 4 basic modes of instruction. So a class might have an in-person requirement, and so we want to make sure that the student understands there is an in-person requirement. There may be an opportunity for our NAU Flex where the student could be remote or rotating in person. That's another option we offer. There might be the opportunity for a class to be completely remote using NAU Flex. And then we also have our traditional, what I would consider today, old-fashioned online offerings. And so so faculty can tell their students, and it'll also be on LUI.
Great. So students continue to check that LUI account. And for students and parents, you can indicate do your FERPA release so your parent has access. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, as well as set up your parents as authorized user if they need access to your account on campus. But continue checking that email, continue checking LUI, and as always, that Jacks Are Back website, we're continuously updating. More updates went in just a couple hours ago. So again, keep checking that back. All right, the other question that involves the hard work that our students have already demonstrated in high school is, if I choose the all remote option, do I get to keep my scholarship? And the answer is yes. For students that are Flagstaff students in a Flagstaff program, that's how we assess your tuition and fees, as well as you have the most options in terms of scholarships. Our statewide students and our totally, as Diane said, old-fashioned online students have different tuition rates and different programs, typically geared to non-traditional transfer students or adults that are doing degree completion or graduate work. So a totally different set of programmatic options. So for those of you that are Flagstaff students, the tuition and fees are the Flagstaff tuition and fees, and you get to retain your scholarship. So you don't need to do anything. You don't need to notify financial aid or any of that. So yes, you will get to keep your scholarship. To that end, am I still being charged fees? Again, as I mentioned, those are assessed by campus. Each type of student we have has fees. Those are student voted fees. And the one that always kind of is top of mind is the health and learning fee. And so, Aaron, do you want to talk through kind of what that covers in terms of services for student, all which can be done and accessed virtually?
Absolutely. So we have telehealth. So students can access medical services through the telehealth, through campus health services. We also have telecounseling. So our counseling services, which is also supported by that fee, is available virtually. And we've done an excellent job providing those services to students during this time. We continue to invest in those resources to make sure students have those services. And the counseling center, even though the facility might not be open, we've been offering a variety of virtual options for students through our campus rec services. And we launched a very successful, several hundred students joined our esports program in the last little bit. So we are continuing to ensure that students have access to those services.
Great. Always never ceases to amaze me how students find ways to continuously connect and make really tough situations work.
Yeah.
So our next question, Chad keeps sending me questions. How are you managing classroom space? And Diane, I think you touched on this a bit earlier, but can you expand a little bit about that classroom space?
So we're following the CDC guidelines for higher education institutions. And the first thing that a student will notice is that we've decreased the number of people in the room at a given class time. And so, for example, if you are in a class of 30 students, you will rotate through. If it meets 3 times a week, you'll have 10 students come Monday, 10 come Wednesday, 10 come Friday, so that everyone gets an in-person experience, but we've maximized the physical distancing. And then also to that end, the students will see that the chairs have been arranged to maximize the distancing. Either we've removed chairs or we're providing a map on the wall to show, use these seats to maximize your distancing in order to keep people safe. We have also, we're going to be requiring masks, of course, so that will help with safety in the classroom. We are improving and increasing the ventilation in the classrooms on a room-by-room basis. We're improving cleaning of the classrooms, although we realize that surfaces are not the major mode of transition, but we're still increasing the cleaning. And so that's what we're trying to do to keep everybody safe.
Great. And so in your example where there was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 students, 30 total, if some of those students choose to be all remote with us through that form we mentioned, that might decrease the class size. And so I might be able to join class every other day, Monday and Friday. And so all of those pieces we're still, students are still saying, yes, I want to be all remote, or yes, I definitely want in person. So kind of the sands continue to shift right up through next week and probably the week after, right?
Absolutely, and that's why it's important for the faculty member to reach out to each group and explain the details.
Great. Excellent. Okay, the other big one that I am going to ask to President Chang. What metrics have you used to make this decision, make decisions all along, and how will you decide if we should go all online?
Well, certainly, the information you received tonight from Aaron and Diane, and the information that you have in all of your Flagstaff forecast sessions to date really demonstrate how much preparation has been put into a successful fall start and completion. We chose to start early so that we could be finished by Thanksgiving. There's a flu season here in Flagstaff, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't have that combination for our students. We're also very much expanding our testing, our surveillance, our care for students, and I believe we have the capacity to complete the semester successfully. Obviously, with all of our planning, we've been monitoring our environment. What's happening in the state of Arizona? What's happening in northern Arizona? Do we have the capacity to handle some level of virus transmission on our campus? Because there will be virus transmission. It is everywhere. So we're in a stage of managing the virus, not eliminating it, and therefore our assessment will be, how well are we doing? And we want to always keep our educational mission top of mind. Our primary goal is to see our students successfully complete the fall semester, go home, and come back for spring semester. And we want them to do that in a very much of a health and safety, top of mind environment. So Annika, it's not, there's no bright line, but there is an assessment of capacity that we have kept in all of our planning throughout the semester and throughout the summer.
Great. So a quick follow-up there. I know many parents that I've spoken with, we hear on the news across the country, ICUs being at capacity. How's FMC? I know you've been in contact, and there was a press conference last night, so.
They're doing really well. And in fact, the Flagstaff Hospital here has taken patients from throughout Arizona because we have the capacity. And I consult with the CEO and the medical director on a frequent basis because we want to be close partners. And although we don't see that our students will have a heavy demand on hospitalizations, they're in an age group that is either asymptomatic or mild symptoms, we do know that there is anxiety and stress related to the virus, and we want to make sure that we're close partners with the healthcare environment in Flagstaff. And we have our own campus health services that is in true partnership with the hospital here.
Great. Yeah, campus health services and FMC, just amazing partners for us. I get my primary care on campus, and had 2 hospital stays, both which resulted in kids, so they were fun stays in that regard. So super fun. Next question to Aaron is, will the rec center be open? I know I've answered this question a couple times with individual parents over the last couple of days. Falls under your team's mission, so can you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. Our intent is to have a phased opening. The staff is working really hard on that. And so our intent is to have a phased opening and to make sure that we manage the space so that we can, in the safest way possible, we are going to ask students to make appointments or reservations to use equipment, and those will be limited in 45-minute intervals so that we can clean. In between use, we're going to monitor occupancy in the facility. We've worked with our environmental health and safety team to do those assessments. So yes, we will. Our intent is to reopen campus rec services, and but in a way that so that we can manage occupancy and make sure that students have a safe environment to access this center.
So students will need to plan ahead a little bit and schedule some time to get their workout in.
Yep.
Also, I know Campus Rec also does rentals of camping equipment, which I know so many of our students enjoy as well. So other ways to be involved with the rec
Outside.
center and really take the opportunity to explore your new home in northern Arizona. Tons of opportunities there.
Campus Rec Services on their website has some suggested hikes and ways to get out and explore northern Arizona. And we've actually started, as part of our phased in, we're doing some classes outside on the fields.
Oh.
Yoga, for instance.
Yoga on the field.
Yeah.
All right.
It's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. The next big question that often comes after is the rec center open, or what about your fall sports teams and those NCAA teams? And we know cheering on your Lumberjacks is so important. So there's really two components to that. There's the athletes that are on the field, on the court, and how that safety and what their season will look like. And then the spectator piece of that, which I enjoy at this point in my life, to cheer on those Lumberjacks. Lots of decision with our conference, the Big Sky, over the next week. So again, keep checking that JackStat back. Really lots of options on the table. A handful of conferences across the country have made decisions, and still many pending. So we expect more in the next week, correct, President Chang?
Yes, we do. And just like all the rest of the decisions for COVID-19, we don't want to make a decision too soon. And across the country, and the NCAA board, as well as the Big Sky presidents, are continuing to talk about what our options might be. And as Annika said, it's about the student experience, but also the fan experience, and they're two separate decisions.
Definitely. So the next big question, if we choose to close campus and go all remote during the semester, will there be refunds on or a credit to housing and dining? And this is a frustrating answer because it depends. If that closure, which again, you heard President Chang say, we are equipped to manage a level of infection on campus with all the protocols in
Absolutely.
place with our partners at FMC to make sure students are receiving the best care. In the event we need to pivot, will really depend on timing of the semester. If it's a few days before finals, that decision will be very different if we need to do that, weeks earlier. But again, the cases in Arizona, we did see that spike earlier this month. We're leveling off. Fingers crossed that all of our safety protocols, even these crazy clear masks we're wearing, are doing the job to mitigate further spread. And it'll depend a lot on our students, and then following that Lumberjack way and that pledge,
You bet.
they're completing their training.
Yep, the return to campus training, that's in all of the students' BB Learn shells, and we are asking all students to complete that training.
So all students are completing that training. And Aaron used a term there, BB Learn Shell. And so for our new students joining us, you don't know what that is. What that is, and you can connect to it from your Louis account, it is where all of your course life at NAU lives. So you will do discussions in BB Learn. You will post assignments in BB Learn, and your amazing faculty will share syllabus and assignments in BB Learn. So BB Learn will become part of your vocabulary, but that is, it'll be their first introduction to BB Learn.
Absolutely.
Is completing
Yeah.
that COVID training. So excellent. Okay, so another big question, how do we get textbooks?
Sure,
Diane,
absolutely.
What are the materials we need to be successful?
So if you're in the area, our bookstore is open. But if you're not in the area, we have a great website. So you can simply Google NAU Bookstore, and you can find the link to look at your text. You can choose your semester, you can choose your courses, and it'll tell you exactly what you need. And so you can rent or purchase the materials, and we can ship them to you. And if there are digital textbooks, those will also be linked on that webpage, so you can find it on the web.
So it could be a digital resource, could be a kind of the old-fashioned hardcover, softcover books. As a mom of a recent college grad, I know she really appreciated the renting the textbook, and she always got them delivered, even though she lives here in Flagstaff. So she liked that convenience, and many students certainly do. But the renting really was a great way for her to kind of mitigate her costs. So that's great. So Erin, we have this emergency textbook loan program that just went through a name change.
It did.
And there's been some question whether we still have it. So can you set us all straight there?
You bet. So it's no longer called the Emergency Textbook Loan Program. It's now called the Course Materials Assistance Program, CNAP, because we love our acronyms.
Yes.
But we made some changes to the program so that we could serve more students and make it more accessible to all our students. So no, it hasn't gone away. It just has a new name and some new features. That's all.
Great.
It's
Great.
still there for students.
Excellent. Okay. I've heard about these care kits. What are they? I know you're so excited to talk about it. You even brought one to show. So
I did.
Let's
And I'm going to
some
try
show
to do
and tell.
this one-handed.
Okay.
So
I can help you out if you want me
Okay.
to take the care kit.
Okay, so in the care kit, all students will get off campus, all of our students, not just those in Flagstaff, but all across the state. In it is a thermometer, and we wanted to give students a thermometer because we're asking them to participate in the Health Check app, and that is daily health screenings to monitor their symptoms and their health and be a healthy community. Everybody gets hand
We
sanitizer.
love hand sanitizer.
I know, and in a size that fits in a backpack or a bag. It's awesome.
Love that.
It's just awesome.
Okay.
2 cloth reusable masks with the NAU logo. They're super cool.
Awesome.
Really cool.
So they're right here.
Yeah, those are great.
Little NAU in the corner. Two
Yeah.
of them are in there wrapped. And then some information. Is
There's
this?
a card in there about some health and safety tips and all of the resources available at our campus health services.
Great. So
And
what?
then there's also in there
Oh.
a note from the students that stuffed the bags.
Oh, so
Because we had a whole cadre of wonderful lumberjacks that stuffed all these bags for students. It was amazing.
So a little note, oh, sorry. So a little note from the student that stuffed it, that hand sanitizer, temperature for those daily checks, the mask to
Yeah.
wear.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And all done. So I'm gonna keep this one.
Okay.
She didn't think I was gonna keep it. Okay, well, I think we have a video that we wanted to show you of that cadre of students stuffing those care kits for all of our students. Whether you're a statewide student or you're joining us here in Flagstaff, you'll receive one of those. So let's go ahead and take a look. So fun to see all those students hard at work. We have a number of students that have stayed on campus with us throughout the late spring and throughout the summer. Some of them student employees, and some of them are students that are taking summer coursework. So always fun to see them. And I would certainly like to welcome back your favorite host, Chad Eichhoff, who has been busily writing down additional questions as they've come into the chat. So we're going to rapid fire those next. But before we do that, I did want to share an application that you can download on your phone. It's actually an opt-out for our students, but I know many of you parents watching will certainly want this app as well. So you can be notified as soon as something critical happens on campus. You know, we've been known to get some snow, Sometimes a construction project might shut down water for an hour or two and things like that. And that is where the SAFE app comes into play. And so on your screen here in a minute, you're going to see that in all the different ways you can engage. And again, for students, you'll automatically be opted into this. So you'll be able to see any critical messages about campus, any emergency, and those are by statewide campus as well. So if you're one of our UMA students, you won't be hearing about, the snow in Flagstaff. I don't know if there's ever been snow in Yuma. I'm sure at some point there was. But that NAU Safe app is really great. You can also do friend walking. So if Chad and I were meeting at the library, Chad could track me and know when I was going to arrive. And so it's just a lot of different functionality that is going live next week. So a great resource for students. But Chad,
Yes.
thanks for managing that chat bot. So let's go ahead and get
All
some
right, so
questions.
first of all, there's lots of questions about this, so I think there's need for a clarification. Wondering about the professor's going to communicate with them next week around if their class, what the delivery is and that kind of thing. But we need to know by August 3rd if they want to go fully remote. So we need a little clarification around that and those
Okay,
dates.
let's break that down again. I know it's confusing. So as you are making decisions in your house and as a student, we encourage you to really assess your risk tolerance. So if you have a fairly low risk tolerance and are healthy and are excited to come back to campus and jump in, then come on back. Your professor will email you throughout next week when they're finalizing their course plans to let you know about the individual course on your schedule and what that rotation Dr. Stearns talked about will look like. So again, the example that I always use is our English 105 classes usually have about 20 or 25 students in them. They meet 4 days a week. So if you are in one of those classes and 10 of those students choose to be all remote all semester, then that leaves 15 in-person people in that class. If they're in a classroom that seats 15 people per the CDC guidelines, all 15 of those people will meet each and every day and be joined by those 10 remote classmates at that same time for discussion, both remotely and in person. If you have a higher risk tolerance and really feel like you're not sure about joining us in Flagstaff, but still certainly want to engage as a student with your courses, then fill out that remote request form by Monday. You still will hear from your professors about the course rotation and things like in the details about the class, but you will be joining that class synchronously at the same time of the class meeting each day that class meets. So a little different there. So yes, you'll get details from your faculty professors next week, but we want to make sure that your schedule is set for a full remote delivery, and that's why we're asking for that August 3rd due date.
So in other words, the student doesn't need to do the legwork to figure out if their class can be remote. More so it's them as a family, them as a student deciding, is that the right thing for me to do to go full remote? Submit that form, and then we'll start the legwork for you in terms of whether those classes you're currently enrolled in work for full remote, if you need to make any adjustments to your schedule. But that's a decision that you need to make as a student, as a family, if that full remote option is the better fit for you. And again, we'll do the legwork then once you submit that full remote form.
Well said, well said.
Question came in from Andy, asked, everyone has seen the nasal swab test, I think, and lots of B-roll footage on the news. Can we get saliva test?
Yes, you can get the saliva test. I think it is as basic as spitting in a tube and then that's tested. So yes, that is certainly an option for testing as well.
And a question that came in earlier in the chat from Christine, will students miss class if their move-in time conflicts?
Yeah, well, the great thing about the move-in times are there are so many options for students to select from. So it's certainly consult your class schedule and pick something that doesn't directly conflict with that. We know part of being a successful student is getting off on the right foot and attending class, and so we don't want you to miss. The team at Residence Life and Housing have set it up, worked all weekend to make sure we could get those times out to you yesterday. So you have multiple options, many of which fall on the weekends.
Yep. Kind of a similar question around the move-in piece. How are we supposed to quarantine while traveling to campus?
Yeah, so we've talked about this quarantine piece a few different times throughout our forecast episodes in treating your new roommate or suite mate as a family unit. Most of the time, students are traveling to campus with their family unit that they've been in close contact with now for a number of months. And so we are asking you to do all you possibly can to limit contact with others outside kind of your family unit leading up to campus. And we know with travel plans, that looks a little different. But certainly keeping safety top of mind is the strong recommendation. Again, it is our intent to open campus as safe as possible. No plan is completely risk-free. We understand that. But this is one big step to ensure safety on campus.
So we answered a lot of questions tonight, and certainly that was our focus for tonight, was to get a lot of the big questions that have been coming in. But it wouldn't be forecast from Flagstaff without a weather forecast. That is a tradition that we've got on this show. Right around the 90-degree mark as we head into the weekend, 89, 91 are the temperatures we're looking at. So if you're down in Phoenix, that's a reprieve. If you're in Flagstaff, that's kind of hot for us, actually, here in Flagstaff. Hoping our monsoon rainstorms resume soon here. Definitely one of my favorite times of the year is monsoon season here in Flagstaff. So I want to tell you about some additional opportunities now that are going to be coming up. Many of you have had the opportunity to join in one of our financial webinars. We've had a handful of those over the course of the last couple of weeks. We do have one more scheduled for tomorrow at noon. Your student, check their email and they're going to see information about registering for that. So if they have financial aid questions, student accounts questions, that is going to be the great opportunity for them to do that. Obviously, we can set up one-on-one appointments as well if that time does not work and you want to discuss the financial piece of things. We also, coming up, we've got one more parent chat currently scheduled. Love those opportunities, lots of questions, rapid fire coming in at those parent ones, and we get to as many as we can. August 5th at 5 p.m. is when we're scheduled for the next parent chat. So parents, hope you'll join us for that. You can find the link at nau.edu/forecast to check that out. And then we have our next episode of Forecast from Flagstaff coming up on August 12th, okay, 2 weeks from today, August 12th. And then the one website that I want to make sure that you all know is Jacks Are Back. Okay, parents ask, what's the one spot if I need to go for info? Why can't you send it in one email kind of thing? It's a fluid situation, so using a web page does make more sense on our end. But Jacks Are Back is the website. So nau.edu/Jacks Are Back. And I think, do we want to touch on NAU Safe or show that graphic here?
I talked about NAU Safe a little bit ago, but you'll be able to see that graphic coming up shortly here on your screen. And as Chad mentioned, we added an additional forecast from Flagstaff in a couple weeks on August 12th. So we'll be back for episode 6. Many of you will be moving in shortly thereafter, so I'm sure we'll have a lot of those moving questions to share too. On your screen, you see that NAU Safe app and all the components there. And so again, launching here shortly, and parents, you'll need to opt into that. Students, you don't need to do anything, you'll be opted in. So thank you for your questions. Thank you, Chad, for keeping us going there on the questions. Thank you to all my guests, and most importantly, thank you to all of you for your continued engagement, and go Lumberjacks.
Go Jacks.